that whole department and government can't use Zoom. So yeah.
Interesting. So good to see you guys. Hey, this is Alex.
Can I turn off my camera?
No.
Don't turn your camera off, but you should probably mute yourself once the conversation starts, because otherwise the background noise picks up and it's crazy.
Jace. Yeah. Good to see you, Jace.
Yeah, Alex.
I see Dylan. Owen. That's great. Hi, Emily.
Hi, Alex.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
That's great. This is a pretty cool app.
It is. It's useful in this time.
Yeah. It's saying that the guy, hey, Owen, this is a cool background. What is it?
It's from SpongeBob.
Oh. Looks like a lot of dead rats around there. Is that right? No? kind of like a rodents and a lot of robots.
Yeah.
That's cool. Emily, how many kids typically join?
Honestly, this is the second time we've had a bigger group, so I'm not sure. At probably in like 6 minutes, I'm gonna block the room so that people can't join. But
you seem really into it. Like you're handling it well.
We just spend a lot of time on Zoom every day.
Oh, really? Can your computer turn the background on green?
Can mine?
Try to do it, like a solid color, and for some reason program told me that my computer is inadequate. Made me feel bad. I feel like I need to go Mac and Apple instead of Windows.
It may be. I don't know.
Scared, I would show you a real background.
Most people have real backgrounds, just a couple SpongeBob backgrounds.
Yeah, we planned this after last time, and I totally forgot about it. Jace is supposed to have one, but he has a different computer.
Andrew, you also kind of have like Owen's, only different.
Yeah, I know. So I have Patrick's house, and he has SpongeBob's house. It's pretty cool.
Okay, you probably get started. I think this is going to be most of the people. Not everyone even fits on the screen, so that's good.
Okay, Alex, how are you? Good, yeah, good to see you. Guys, it's really great to see you, all of you. Emily asked me to join today, and yeah, look at you guys. That's a cool little Mini Cooper or Fiat. That's a pretty awesome car.
James, why are you upside down?
So, hold on. What time is it? 5:04. Hopefully, I want to lock this meeting at some point so that we don't become one of the many meetings that gets hijacked by someone that then bombards you with inappropriate material.
Yeah, bombed. I read that Scottish swimming got bombed.
Yeah, it's definitely known to happen. I don't know if we are popular enough for that to happen. But anyway, we'll get started because we'll start getting a countdown timer where it will just cut us off at some point. So, but I'm hoping that everyone can see and all of that. Everyone's internet is working. But we have, I thought it was a good opportunity for Alex to come and talk to you. He's got different experiences than all of us, just like everyone has different experiences. But I'm hoping with his kind of never-ending wisdom, he can, talk to you guys a little bit about, keeping your motivation during this time, and a lot of the stuff we've already talked about. But I think it's always good to have a different perspective and someone else's voice aside from mine, or the absence of yours. So, yeah, start talking, Alex.
I appreciate it first, and Emily, thank you for letting me know that the kids were asking about me. Really meant a lot, I tell you. And these are really, I have to say, these are really strange times. And generally speaking, I'm pretty much an optimistic person. I keep optimism, but once in a while, this isolation completely gets to you, I suppose. Even though my wife and I were kind of isolation is by choice. We kind of love being away, but so Emily mentioned that you guys were asking, and it really meant a lot. And she asked perhaps to give you some of my thoughts and experiences on resilience, or I like the word grit, which is I think at this point of time probably even one of the most important qualities to possess for anybody. And in fact, I believe that in some ways that being resilient, and resilience itself is even more important than IQ, which we all would like to think that we're smart and intelligent and develop and study school, etc., which is of course important, but I think the quality that is really critical, I believe, is great, personal great. So I don't know if you guys knew who Mike Tyson was. Mike Tyson was a heavyweight world champion, and while he's not necessarily what I would consider a brain thrust, but he uttered a really remarkable statement. He said that everybody's got a plan until they got punched in the mouth. That's what most people know this phrase. But he said also, there's a part two to it. He said, when they get hit like a rat, they stop in fear and freeze. This is what happens when people suddenly feel adversity, something that didn't go as they expect. I think we're all kind of feeling it now. Sort of nobody expected it. For some athletes, didn't qualified for Olympic trials, but not going to. Some maybe at the last year of their career, and they were hoping to compete. Not going to happen. So plans got to change, right? That's what happens. So in really what my thought is it's really not really what happens to us. It's not what adversity itself is. It's how we react to it. That what really matters. That what defines us, and but not the adversity itself. So that's why resilience and grit is so critical to possess. What is really resilience and grit, and how can you tell that you have it or not? All of us have it, all of you. The difference is, grit is that passion and perseverance, that it just lasts for really extremely long interval. It's not just like last 25 and you go after it and seize the moment and win. No, it's something that you have to extend and possess and exert for really long time. Does it make sense? All of us have it. It just, some of us may start it and not see it through, but everybody I've seen in the practice, I've seen all of you showing that quality. So, and so again, it's passion, perseverance, right? that displayed for really extended long periods of time. So why is it important, particularly now? I think you possess this quality and it's well cultivated. You can really maintain better balance, kind of have a stronger handle on the moment, and kind of weather this adverse period with and come ahead, right? And I think that's important. There's a personal story to you about great perseverance and and even definition of success that I kind of wrestled with half my life. This by Winston Churchill, who was a prime minister of England, and he's really known for um, wit and wisdom. So he said that his definition of success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And for years I thought, I just don't understand. How can you go from failure to failure and still keep on going? And I couldn't quite wrap my mind. But then I realized later in life is that what this is just in between. We have great success, and then of or a moment of success, and then we keep on going, right? And what happens in between those big moments of success, there's a lot of failure going on, small, big disappointments, and then you kind of persevere. You find your way to improve, and then you experience success. And then what happens again? That cycle starts over. Does it make sense? So there's a lot more failure on the road between successes, rather than success every day. That really doesn't happen that way. So to me, only later I realized that's exactly what's really happening. That's what's really happening. And so what I'm thinking about that grit and resilience. There are some qualities I believe that really important to cultivate. I think I kind of thought about it yesterday and today and scribbled 6. Again, there's probably more, but I figured for me personally, I identified those important things. You have to show, you have to be optimistic. You have to be actively optimistic, kind of a glass, half full rather than half empty kind of person. And in different kind of situations, this could be also identified as you would be more inclined to move forward when others are retreating. You have to believe in the positive, and this thing will blow off. It will all work out. There's no doubt on my mind. Just hopefully sooner than later. And you have to really look at it that way. You also have to be pretty decisive. That's another quality. I believe that I always like to say that, think fast but walk slowly. Basically, but make sure you keep walking. You think, make a decision, and act on it. And oftentimes you have to be courageous. And I like that expression that courage is the ladder on which all other virtues mount. I really like that thought. So you have to be decisive and courageous. You also need to have a circle of friends, supportive people around you. Like, who's got your back? Or you ask yourself the question, whose back do you got? It's really, really important. It is also important to be relentless, tenacious, and really possess a lot of determinations, which I know all of you guys got it. I've seen it. So, and another saying that I like is that kind of goes in line with being relentless and tenacious is like if your ship doesn't come, so you swim out there to meet it yourself. So and just be really persistent, but also know when to quit as well. Here's a story for you that about the relentless and tenacity. I had a swimmer about 25 years ago, of course, at the Mac, and she a pretty good swimmer. And she did not get into Duke University. That's her primary school. So she comes into practice crying, upset. They say, "Anne-Marie, what's going on?" They say, "Well, I didn't get into Duke." I say, "Well, did you have a chance to maybe ask why? Were you come short? If that school's so important, just get in touch with them. Say that you'd like to reply, but you want to know where do you fall short." So I didn't know whether she took advice or not. A couple of days later, I think maybe like a week or so, she comes in just glowing, happy. I asked, "Well, what's happened?" She said, I got admitted to Duke." I said, "Well, that's an interesting thing. Well, what happened?" And she says that when she actually got a chance to talk to admissions, and the lady said, "You have this good resume, but we didn't feel that you show initiative. Like it didn't really come off from your letter as you're really strong, tenacious kind of person. And when you called and asked these questions, we all were completely kind of dumbfounded because we completely misread you." Emily, you probably remember Anne-Marie Smith.
I remember the name, yeah.
Yeah, you remember. So that's her story. Well, I'm glad that she took the advice and actually got in touch. And so you see that kind of interesting turn of events. I think what also is important is feeling in control and possess self-control in this for relentless and tenacity and resilience. And I think for me personally, I always look at it as a kind of a target. If you can imagine the bullseye, right? You have a center bullseye and then you go another circle around it, and then there's a bigger circle around it. So these are three circles of influence. So in the center, it's me, right? It's basically I am responsible for whatever it is that I set my mind to do, and I'm going to do it. And that's basically, to me, it's 100% certainty. If I decided to do it, I'm going to do it. Then circle expands, and that would be we, and we could be me and my wife. Say like oftentimes it can go right how we want it, but if it comes to certain colors or whatever, I think it's really great. And then she knows I'm colorblind, so she puts the foot down, things don't go. So the certainty from 100% goes to maybe 50%, right? And then it's a third circle of influence, it's them, right? Where I really have no control over necessarily, or so that's why being in control, right, in the self-control, I'm focusing on really most of the time on that very center, what I absolutely can do and will do myself. And the second circle is the we. It's in this situation, it could be Emily and I, or Emily, Michael and I. That's the we circle, right? Or me and an athlete, which we bound by one big common goal and invested in. So that's the we. Them, when the circle expands, that control definitely lessens, right? Does it make sense? I hope it does. So that helps me to, in a difficult adverse situation, to cope. I'm just focusing on what I can do, what I will do, and that's 100% certainty that I will do that. And that's little step, little step, little step, and and in a week you see great results, typically, not necessarily in a day. And that's I think, and the last one I thought is important is it's your moral compass. In a way, it's your integrity in how you make decisions, whatever is the decisions you're making in this process. And I think you use your moral compass to guide your honor, your integrity to guide your decisions. That's basically this. All these pieces are cumulative ingredients of resilience and grit, in my opinion, of course. And I think all of us possess those qualities. And I think uh, to cultivate them is really important. I think that's the thought. What do you guys think on the subject?
They're not very good at like volunteering their own ideas. They basically just mute themselves, and then everyone's afraid to talk, except for Nate.
Nate, good, Nate. Well, that's well, as long as they're staying actively optimistic, right?
Yeah.
In control, right? Focusing on the right things, right? Staying relentless and tenacious. Got a good support group.
Yeah. Do you have any, I think one of the harder things for everyone is that there's obviously no hard and fast date when we'll be back swimming. Like everyone asks me, I don't know. So it's hard. I think a little hard for some people to set goals, not because they don't believe they're ever going to be back in the pool. We know we'll be back in the pool. We know we'll swim again.
Yeah.
But I think some people are struggling with, it's hard to set goals when you're not swimming right now, even though, like you and I, we know they're going to swim. I don't know if you have any advice for them about setting goals when you're not swimming now, but, intellectually, we all know we'll be back in the water.
Right. Of course we will. I think I would look at things again, what can be done and what should be done today, what's possible to do today, like in this particular situation. Yeah, you may not be able to get in the pool, but you may be able to learn yoga, which is very good. I think it's good to strengthen the body. It's good and it's something that you really never have time to do. And I do know there's so many online yoga, little different things, and it's something that can be done now. It can also be mastered now, and that can be really very, very, very helpful down the line. I think maybe instead of time traveling forward, being in the moment and taking care of what you can do. It can be anything. It can be Zumba. I saw such a funny thing, like my friend Vlad from Chicago sends me, and I think I sent you a couple of those interesting snippets. They doing some kind of a like an interesting, like a dance. It's kind of corny, but in the same time, I tried. It's actually pretty dynamic. So I think that's a better way of looking at it. And I think when that moment will arrive, I think to get to the moment when you actually can swim and can get in the pool, to be better prepared for that moment. And I think that would be the best advice I can possibly give, because this is what I would do myself. This is what I would be focusing. Time traveling is kind of in the future, hasn't happened yet, right? But this moment is in a way what this is all we have. It's like right now, and what can we do right now? Yesterday is gone. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is mystery, right? And today, what really counts, and what can you do now? And I think this is kind of an opportunity to do what you really never have time to do, and maybe reinvent and reimagine. the dry land, this stretching, the strengthening. Like Helena said, that she's running, perfect. Something that you might not even necessarily like doing. Someone can get on a bike. All kinds of things can be done. Just as long as you're being creative and again persistent.
Yeah, I think that's good. Good voice. Stop putting your phone up. You know that you have a video on, right? Everyone can see you. The other thing, you know, like I believe this and I've tried to tell them this, but I think sometimes it's helpful to have other, and maybe they believe me, you know, but I think that there's this panic or fear that being out of the water is going to be, you know, some sort of deal breaker for anything. You know, I don't believe that's true, and everyone's out of the water at the same time. But maybe you could, you know, speak to that for a short period.
Well, I can say that coaching long enough, you see a lot of interesting things, and a lot of really interesting things can happen. And sometimes things maybe even go contrary to our belief. But I think it all comes down to individuals. I've seen individuals being in the pool every day, you know, for example, Saturday. But I think when they were in the pool, they were at school. When they were at school, they were in the pool. So they were swimming. They're just swimming nowhere. And then you see people like just recently, Brett Hayden retired, 8 years ago or so, and he just decided to sort of do things for, you know, for fitness for himself, and actually swam the fastest, the second fastest time in his career. So what it's telling you something. It's telling us something, that I think as long as the reasons that what we're doing for are good, and there is passion in it, there's active interest in it, and we're all in the same boat. The whole world is in the same boat. The whole world is not swimming, maybe except for Belarus. But I think that again, that's the part where active optimism should really kick in, and really believing in that things are possible rather than things are impossible and doomed. I think that's a good opportunity to practice. And in the end of the day, I believe that being more positive and optimistic has no downside. There is no downside. Well, if you're wrong, big deal. But what if you're pessimistic and you're wrong? Well, you missed a great opportunity. And this is what I personally believe in.
Does anyone have any questions? I mean, we have about 5 minutes left before the screen just turns us off. I know that you guys are hesitant to ask questions, but I'll say that assuming everyone's set up on gallery view, your picture is not going to be huge when you talk to everyone else. And there's no need to be embarrassed because you guys all know each other and you've talked plenty when I'm talking, explaining the set. So clearly you know how to use your voice. But you have about 5 minutes. If you have a question, you know, I would just unmute yourself and ask. And if you all ask at the same time, then awesome. Otherwise, we're going to stare awkwardly at each other.
Oh, here's Elena. It's so great. I learned that I can actually scroll and see.
Yeah.
Michelle. All right, Kiki. That's great. I see you guys. Michael, Tia, Aaron. That is great. Gabriel, that's a good little tool. Well, I hope it was helpful. But Maya, it's just so cool. Andrew, Dylan, oh, and that's great. Olivia, oh wow, Gabby, you have great art behind you. Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know, my wife is an artist too, so it's great. Yeah, guys. Well, I hope it's you kind of think about it, that really, and one thing that I mentioned early on, that resilience and grit is even more important than IQ in the long run. You give it a thought. This may go contrary to what you believe, but from where I'm sitting now, of course. It seems pretty important. Maybe most important. That's really cool.
All right. Well, last chance for questions, comments.
I just wanted to know why there wasn't a workout posted today.
There was.
There was?
Yeah.
Post on Instagram?
Yeah.
But okay. I thought there wasn't.
I guess I have a question too. So are they really gonna change breaststroke, like the actual stroke, or is that just like something they're thinking about?
Yeah, it seems like it's a go. Yeah.
Really?
It'll be
Okay.
interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, FINA is going to be changing that, at least from information that I received. I also I do a little bit work for FINA as well, once every couple of years or so. So I'm on their list, and before they released it, so I read that. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but definitely going to be a lot faster. Yeah, it's going to happen.
Sounds good.
It's going to happen. Derek.
Okay. Any
Guys,
other
it's really good to see you all. Riley, that's cool.
I have a question. Did you unlock the Zoom class so I can get in?
Did what? I'm sorry.
No.
Muffin was wondering if he wants to unlock the Zoom class.
No, not now. We have 2 minutes left. Why would I unlock it? Be on time. Okay, well, short of anyone else having any other questions, we'll wrap it up before we get cut off abruptly.
Yeah, and if anybody has a question, just email me. I'll be happy to respond in any way. But Emily, thank you for the opportunity, and it's fun. It's fun to see. It's just really fun to see everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody looks kind of different in their own environments. You know, it's great. It really it's fun. Tia is great. Yeah. T and Kiki on a different setup. That's interesting. You know, two sisters, but two different setups. It's pretty great. That's great. Well, I appreciate it. It was fun. It was fun to think about it for me too. It's kind of good to change routines and think about stuff.
Yeah,
it's really good. Yeah.
All right.
Wait.
Well, they're gonna kick us off here, so.
Okay, 1 minute. I see it's
But if you have questions, you can email Alex or you can email me. I'll pass it along. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up, and then we'll see you again next week, everyone.
Good deal. Well, Emily, thanks again. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you, Alex. Stay healthy.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank